What's going on out there, YouTubers? This is the Cars for Creed. We're doing the first of a series of videos in regards to the 90-day fitness challenge. My main parameter is going to be actually losing a body fat percentage. But today I have the honor of bringing in one of my favorite guests, Travis Chilcot. He's from Nutrition Health Works, and we're going to be talking about resting metabolic rate and why it's important. You know, a lot of people jump to the conclusion that, hey, let's get this thing right. Let's jump into the weight room and get this body looking good. And it's not always that easy. You know, the words of Jay-Z, you know, men lie, women lie, and numbers don't lie. And so we're here to talk about nutrition and those numbers. So first question for my man Travis is, what exactly is resting metabolic rate, and why is it important?
Well, resting metabolic rate is basically the bare minimum of what your body actually burns calorie-wise per day. So when it comes to the resting rate, that's what the amount of calories it takes for your body to function through with using your brain, your internal organs, what your muscles require. So it's the bare absolute minimum. From there, we can go into more of what's your total energy expenditure. And that is not only just, it's your resting plus your activity throughout the day, which is extremely beneficial for the fact that, you know, obviously you don't sit in bed all day long, right? You get up, you move around, you do things. And so it calculates both. So that way we have a bare minimum of calories that your body requires through resting metabolic rate. And then we have your total energy expenditure. The reason why it's important is because calories in, calories out. You know, yes, the quality of calories matter too. I won't touch into that right now. But when it comes to the calories itself, if you eat more than the amount of calories that you burn, generally speaking, your body tends to store those calories. So you have an opportunity there. There's a window of opportunity, and it's your resting metabolic rate, in between that and your total energy expenditure. Somewhere in there, depending on what your needs are, that's where you can drop the optimal amount of body fat through that process. But you have to test it and you have to find out.
And I think I remember reading this. The resting metabolic rate accounts for about 65 to about 75% of your total calories burnt throughout the day, correct?
Generally speaking, yeah. I mean, just being alive, you'd be surprised at how many calories that your body burns through the day. You know, so it does count for the majority of your calories burned. Getting up and moving around obviously can burn some calories too, but you have to know what your minimum calorie is to be successful.
Excellent, excellent. And let's move on to the next question is, you know, what exactly is metabolism, and, you know, how is that important for people to understand what exactly metabolism is?
Well, it's important for whatever your goals are, right? So, as we talked about earlier, it puts you into a weight loss zone. It also puts you into a weight maintenance zone. You can also go into a weight gain zone as well. So for pretty much anyone, it really just depends on what their needs are. Obviously, you have different things. Not everybody necessarily wants to lose weight, so there's a maintenance zone. Some people want to bulk up. You know, if they're trying to gain lean body mass, then we can go into another zone. But in your particular case, when we had tested you earlier, was getting into that body fat, you know, dropping that body fat percentage was getting you in between that resting metabolic rate and your total energy expenditure, your TEE.
Perfect. My next question is, why is knowing your body fat percentage important? I know it's different for both men and women, but why is knowing your body fat percentage important?
Yeah, naturally females carry a little bit more body fat than males just because of their structure, essentially.
Good ways too.
Good ways. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So that being said, you know, you want to focus on the composition of your body, right? So there's BMI. We talked about that a little bit earlier today, but
we both agreed that it's trash. I think a lot of the insurance companies are using it, and it's not really applicable for bigger size people or athletic body types. But we're not going to jump into that category, but
well, it's all about composition,
yeah.
Right? So you have your BMI, and we do monitor that. We want someone's BMI to be, you know, within the proper range. But we go above and beyond that. Instead of just height and weight, you know, we look more into the composition. So you have a certain amount of muscle and you have a certain amount of body fat. Our goal is to, you know, maintain as much lean body mass as possible. And any type of excess body fat, get rid of it. From there, we can actually calculate what your ideal body weight is going to be on a scale based on how lean your body mass is and getting rid of that excess body fat that you may have.
Excellent, excellent. So as I continue on this process, it's 90 days with the right mindset and right goals and right activity with nutrition combined with my working out. I expect some changes.
Right.
And so my next question would be, what should I expect to happen with my R.M.R, rested metabolic rate, as I lower my body fat percentage?
So that's pretty interesting. It could really go a couple of different ways. Generally speaking, as you're less of a person, you require less calories, right? So as you reduce your body fat percent, which in turn generally ends up in a weight reduction,
Correct.
your actual resting metabolic rate itself generally goes down.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean it slows down necessarily. It just means you're less of a person, thus you require less calories. It does mean, however, that your body could potentially get more efficient during this process. The reason why is because of your activity side of things. You're increasing your cardiovascular, you're basically increasing the efficiency of your body on the internal side of things, which in turn can actually, increase the resting part, but be actual less volume of calories that you require because you're less of a person.
It could go either way. It could stay the same. It could go down. It could go up. Is it something you're saying that's going to vary? It could vary for any person, pretty much.
It's going to vary. I mean, if somebody's very active already going into it, and then we change some things, reduce body fat percentage, reduce composition, then you might not see as much of a change than someone who's not doing any activity whatsoever, hasn't, lifted a finger more than 6 or maybe 10 years ago, right? And then their composition is going to change drastically, and so that's when you'll really see a change in that resting metabolic rate.
Perfect. A lot of things are on the internet about nutrition and fitness and eating. I would say, what is your personal opinion? What's a very common misconception about nutrition?
Well, I'd probably say out-exercise, or you can't out-exercise a bad diet, right? So a lot of people go into the gym or go into this mindset and tell themselves, well, I know I don't eat great, so I'm going to start exercising to compensate for that. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's not necessarily the case. If you're really, really getting after exercise, I mean, you're going at a very heavy pace. You're talking about 100 calories per 10 minutes. So if you hop in the gym and you hit a 30-minute workout, you're burning about 300 calories. Well, I mean, 300 calories, let's say you have
it's like 2 Cokes, right?
Yeah, basically. Actually, less than 2 Cokes. You're talking about 180 calories of Coke, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much at all to out-eat you can't really out-exercise a bad diet. So that being said, you have to stick to both the nutrition side of things and the exercise side of things, because you'll be more successful. It is truly what they say, 70 to 80% is going to be the food side of things. I tell people all the time, you have to eat. You don't have to exercise. Yes, of course, we absolutely recommend it.
Yeah, of course.
But you don't have to exercise to survive a day to day. But you have to consume food. So if you're going to consume food, make it the best that you can.
Perfect. I got one last question. It's a little sticky topic. We had talked about it a little before the interview, and I've come from a nightclub background back in the day, and I know a lot of people like to work out, go to the clubs, and drink about 2 gin and tonics or 2 gin and orange juices, or more. Right. That's just being light, or more.
Light, light.
And what are your thoughts about alcohol and nutrition, and how that affects the metabolic rates and things of that nature?
Right. So over long-term use, alcohol can certainly affect metabolism for the worse. But when it comes to the alcohol side of things, you can almost go back and mention you can't out-exercise a bad diet, right? Yeah. So we're talking about 300 calories in a 30-minute workout, give or take. Well, those 2 gin and tonics that you're talking about, there goes everything that you just did at the gym today. Yeah. And then, like you said, that's on the lighter side. So over chronic use, you can certainly, lower that resting metabolic rate. But the main factor is going to be fat storage. So you're trying to drop body fat percentage like so many others, right? So what ends up happening through alcohol, especially if you consume it on an empty your stomach, or if it's been a while since you've eaten anything, it spikes your blood sugar levels, which in turn will increase your insulin production. So because of that massive spike of blood sugar levels, because of the fast digestion of alcohol, what ends up happening is that if there's any food consumption around alcohol, or if there's just a large amount of alcohol consumed in itself, then your body has to end up storing that alcohol because it really has no other choice. So it spikes the blood sugar, insulin gets released. It really doesn't have a whole lot it can do with the alcohol, in the sense of, because you're not exercising necessarily. Yeah, talk about club background. Yes, you might be doing some dancing, but that's going to help, believe it or not. But in the long run, what ends up happening is your body ends up storing that. And generally speaking, it's going to store it as body fat. So it's very counterproductive to what you're trying to accomplish.
Excellent. Well, we're about a month deep into the actual fitness challenge, and thus far, with how I got a program set, I've actually lost about 20 pounds. Haven't rechecked my actual BMI or body fat percentage, but there is progress being made. I want to let my friend Travis Chilcot know that we appreciate him here. Of course, Travis, do you have any information to let them know where they can find you at and seek out your services, because you're excellent help.
Well, thank you. And thanks for having me. So you can reach us first and foremost, of course, at the website. So you can go to www.nutritionhealthworks.com. We have 2 different offices. We have one in the Cornelius area and one in the Mooresville area. Of course, you can reach out to us by phone as well, 704-380-4655. And then, of course, we have a Facebook page. You can search us on Nutrition Health Works over on the Facebook. So, yeah.
Well, excellent. Thanks. Appreciate your time here. And just letting everybody know, get with the program, man. It's about that time. 90 days. Let's go.